He's the hero with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we will explore the comic book origins of Robert Reynolds, otherwise known as the Sentry. As with most comic book characters, there are often reimaginings and different versions to a character's past. We've chosen to primarily follow the storyline which unfolded in 2000's 5-part The Sentry series, which was then expanded upon in issues number 1 and 7 to 10 of 2005's The New Avengers. A relatively recent comic book character, this Marvel creation benefited from an unusual hoax-style marketing ploy. Released within a limited series, he was given the appearance of a long-forgotten Stan Lee character from the Silver Age, even predating the Fantastic Four that was finally getting a long-overdue reboot. Kicking off this faux return, readers were introduced to Bob Reynolds, a seemingly normal married man awakening from a nightmare during a thunderstorm. While going downstairs, under the guise of having to let the dog out, he plucked a book from the shelf and mused about his old enemy, the Void, returning to Earth. Believing that the Void would be stronger than ever and that he would be the only hope for humanity, he revealed a bottle of serum hidden away within the book. As he looked at the bottle, viewers were shown glimpses of the hero's previous comic book exploits. This included showing Bob as a young man who had stumbled upon a professor's secret formula. This showed him drinking it and beginning to glow with energy. It then jumped ahead to show Bob using his newfound strength and power to do good and get the girl. Readers were even shown a flashback of the hero sewing his uniform, a golden suit, while the aged man debated drinking the serum and becoming the Sentry once again. He did this all while looking at the closet where he stored his old costume. Drinking the serum, Bob felt his power returning, and readers were shown more of his long-forgotten memories. These revealed his power to fly, his super sense, and that he had once worked alongside his superpowered canine, previously known as Watchdog. Bob then remembered his arch-nemesis, the Void, and got a glimpse of using his powers to fight off the foe, who had vowed vengeance against him. Journeying outside into the storm, Bob tried to remember why his memories were so unclear, and why he had stopped being a superhero. He then remembered a professor explaining that the serum created a hyperstate of consciousness, that his powers came directly from the sun, and that his abilities were limitless. The professor had also revealed that there was no way of knowing the effects of prolonged exposure to regular intake of the serum. Fearful of the ghost-like Void's return, Bob began working to repair a relic he had once found on an alien planet that the Void had once destroyed. With his mind not at the genius levels that it once was, Bob drank more of the serum. It was at that point that the Void seemingly presented itself to Bob. As his wife came down to check on the commotion, she found Bob broken down on the floor next to the dog that he had kicked in an apparent hallucination, and she became outraged that he had begun to drink again. With this, Bob began to believe that only he could remember his former life. This led Bob to revisit each of his former superhero friends in succession, who had also forgotten him. This also spurred an investigation to discover why they, and the entire world, had forgotten about him, while more and more of his former memories began to return, including details of his marriage. As it turned out, the Sentry had faked his death before using his powers to make the entire world forget that he had ever existed. This turned out to be necessary, as he had learned that the Void was part of his own psyche, and that forgetting was the only way to subdue the menace. Finally remembering his self-sacrifice, and making the world remember him, including his wife, he realized that he must once again make the same sacrifice to save everyone. Following this supposedly one-off and rather tragic tale, the character eventually returned when he was shown in a special prison, falsely believing that he had murdered his wife. Thanks to a supervillain breakout, he came to the attention of the New Avengers, who helped him destroy the Void, which, as it turned out, was a creation of his own psyche, or a cerebral virus, as it was described. In the years that followed, he rejoined their team, becoming a hero once more. Are you a fan of this one-of-a-kind superhero? For more gripping comic book origins, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.